shortly after we moved here, my husband leaned over me and said, "You're going to the hospital," which I'd never been to a hospital. "You can't die, I don't speak Spanish." So, I was taken to a hospital. I was like, I am negating everything I've ever been taught. But I learned the grace to be ministered to be cared for, to absolutely give myself into the care of somebody else. And when I went, I had a hemoglobin count of 4.2. I was barely moving. But to be able just to go, all right, and know that that love and that care that those physicians were offering me, that was an expression of God in action. I am learning so much, have so much more to learn. Excuse the tremor in my voice, I don't mean to do that. Caring, medical community that there is in Mexico. So touched, and I've been privileged to know such healers inside of hospitals, outside of hospitals, and certainly within the community of San Miguel. And that includes most of you. So thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mary Jane, Bishop William, Susan. I'm thrilled to be invited to here to Humboldt Church to talk about these topics, and I'm sure many
teach them how to ask questions. Just that.
Because the answer is in us, it's not in anybody else. It's that exercise what matters. So anyway, just coming back of why in this panel. My search was interestingly connected when I came back to San Miguel after being away. It comes in many forms, but one of the ones that is very touching to me in this vision is how do we forgive? And I think forgiveness and love are part of the same card. So illness is what I need to forgive, but I need to see what's the ache, what it's rising. If I have a problem with my mother, okay, or with my father, or with my husband, or with my friend, or with my partner, that's exactly what I need to explore and focus. How am I going to focus with all these tools? It's arising. It's what I need to pay attention to it. It's super clear. I think the illness, it's like the receta del médico, like the doctor prescription, thank you. No, to tell us, okay, that's what you need to now explore and discover through art, to poetry, to I think that's the Southwest way, but it's only a personal perspective. In the Mesoamerican perspective, it's
that it's not sanctimonious at all. It's very practical. It's the capacity to let go of something and not let it continue to have power in us or over our life. And it does not have to be accepted. But for the self, we forgive, we let it go, we move on. Again, it's one of those boundary kinds of things, like for taking care of someone. You have to have some boundaries. So I think the pair of love and forgiveness as an essential pair within our understanding of what it is to heal or to be a healer is really kind of critical. And if we have one takeaway from today, those are the two words I would leave with you to take away.
How can I be effective in helping others? And the most important work, it's almost counterintuitive, is with ourselves. And that's why it's absolutely essential every day, that daily thing, is to work what's Susan. And I call it my identification work. It's identifying myself to myself. And it sounds as God's idea. I use that term God because that's the one I'm most comfortable with. But why did Creator make me? I've got a purpose, all right? I have to trust Creator that I'm going to do it. Where does the power come from? It's Creator. And it's an unselfing in this identification work. It's almost like cleaning a window. My window pane is, it's not the more they see of Susan, it's the more they see of the light behind that. And getting that window pane clean every day is hard work. It really is. But it's essential, or we'll get worn out. We'll get tired, we'll get burned out, and we won't be any good to anyone. So that's my takeaway, is start with yourself and do it with great love.
But I think the healer has to be empty in their agenda of what your healing or their healing is going to look like. I think if you are being healed, you have to be empty of an agenda, which means, oh, it's never going to be right, it's never going to be okay. I've had cancer 3 times, you know. You have to get rid of your past agenda, okay? That's another kind of emptiness. And then if you are in the process of healing, or you have been healed, and you run into somebody else, again, I mentioned before that when you say, I'm sick, somebody else will say, well, I've been sick too. Remember, this is not okay. It's not your time to share a experience when somebody comes to you and they say they're out of sync with the universe. Yours is a moment to serve, not to tell your story. So that kind of emptiness also
is always something that calls us to mindfulness. Is it solitude or is it empty? Is it lonely? Is this something that covers up something that's going to come back because the cover-up never works? It's never the real thing. Am I feeling empty because I've cut myself off from everybody? Emptiness is not, I think, the goal of healthiness. Solitude. Can I be alone with myself and comfortable? Remember, for example, in the ancient tradition of the desert hermitages in Egypt, the hermit was not allowed to go into the desert until the hermit had learned to live in community.
Until when?
Until the hermit had learned to live in community.
Oh.
And the Benedictines today still practice that. And on Sundays, you had to return to the community for the celebration of the sacrament, for meal and social time together, and then you were allowed to go back into the hermitage. So how healthy is my aloneness? Is it renewing? For example, I'm on a Myers-Briggs scale, I'm an off-the-wall introvert. On Sunday afternoons, I do not want to see anybody. I do not want to have to talk to anybody. I do not want you to call me on the phone. That's my downtime. I'm done until the end of the afternoon, and then I'm sort of, I can extrovert a little more. That's okay. Knowing what your patterns are and needing to be with people and needing to empty yourself of all of the distractions and stuff. Anthony Bloom, Orthodox spiritual director, said when you start to pray and you've got, the grocery list and pick up the kids and the grandchildren are coming and, all that stuff, he said, do not fight it. Just let it pass through. And when all that stuff is passed through, you come to a moment of solitude. And you work with that, because solitude is full and rich and quiet, and it allows us to become instruments of God's work, instruments of God's Spirit. It allows us to listen loudly with the ear of our heart. It allows us to simply be quiet and renewed, and that promotes healthiness and wholeness.